release from in the morning.
Yeah. So you guys, Sporting Southampton, recently played Wembley, which
yes.
like that's biggest thing you've ever played.
Biggest indoor thing we've ever played, I think.
Yeah. How was it? Did you get warm reception?
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah, it was like our gig. I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, I can't believe there's a band going to go on after us. It was brilliant.
I think being in a band for like the last sort of 15 years, and sort of doing every single venue around the country, and London being, you know, the capital of music for us, ending up at Wembley was, you know, amazing.
Just because I can't imagine someone going seeing the Skindred show and not walking away, wanting to check it out, walking away impressed. Do you see those kind of gigs as massive opportunities to forge a new fan base?
I think, yeah, festivals, when you're supporting, it's a massive advert for the band. I mean, you're playing like a condensed set of about 35-40 minutes, so it's not the feature film.
No.
So you want to try and cram in as much stuff as possible to try and convert as many people as possible. And I think the festival side of things has really been really good for us, especially in Europe.
Yeah, you've got this big field full of people who may have never heard of you or previously written you off. So they kind of go, what's this? Oh, there's a band happening, and then it's in Skindred, and go, oh, yeah, they are awful, I knew it. But a lot of times people get turned on to it in that kind of environment where they haven't necessarily come to see us, but they walk away a fan.
Yeah, it's like you've got to feel people doing the Liverpool helicopter.
Yeah, exactly.
You played festival, and you were pretty much the only rock or metal act on that lineup.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I saw people losing their mind. I think you had the only mosh pit at the festival.
I think
so we should.
Yeah. some of the crew work in the stage, and this happens a lot. Is that crew and security? It's like literally breathed a puff of life into people. They've been working all day like zombies, and then all of a sudden, like, oh my God, you've changed my life. Like, that was the best thing I've ever seen. I've, you know, just watched Sophie Ellis-Bextor for the past hour.
I feel drained.
Yeah, I feel drained. You guys just come on and go, changed my life. This is what it's all about, kind of thing. And that's a real compliment for people who watch stuff all day long to go, you guys stuck out in a good way.
I think because we are different musically. You know, we are, you know, predominantly a rock and metal act, but we have all these different, you know, musical influences. So we can play something like Festival and then go and play, I don't know, something like Goggin in Germany, which is
full on metal, yeah,
full on all that business, and that's great. So doing something like Steel Panther again is another, you know, another opportunity to try and convert, like we were saying. So we've been very lucky with that over the years.
It's attention-grabbing music, I think, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. You know, it's kind of like Marmite. You know what I mean? We don't kind of just go under the radar.
I'd rather people hate us,
yeah,
or completely love us. If you're just sort of indifferent, that gets on my nerves more. You know, if you think we're just
yeah, because I would never have said we were vanilla.
No, definitely not.
Thick Marmite.
Yeah. XO.
Yeah, XO, special Marmite.
You mentioned a minute ago that you've played masses of venues all around the UK, and even though you can fill these huge fields and sort of capture an audience at Wembley, what is it that you find important about our smaller independent venues, and what is it that makes you want to go back there and revisit the smaller rooms?
I mean, the small rooms is where you start out, so you always feel, I don't trust a band who hasn't done that. You know, a band that's come out and they're straight in the Guildhall. It's taken us 15 years to get to the Guildhall, and we'll still go back and we'll play the Brook or the Nexus or the Joiners anyway. I think going back there is a different kind of energy. You can see the whites in everyone's eyes, you know.
Yeah.
This would be a big gig on the circuit, this room, you know. So I think there's that thing when you start out as a musician, you crave that. Well, I think we did when we started out. You crave that sort of interaction with the crowd at a close level. Yeah. And I don't think we're ever going to lose that. That's why we will do a smaller gig. We will go back and play these warm-up shows or smaller club gigs, and then obviously take the opportunity to play bigger venues. But they are different experiences.
It's kind of a hammy phrase, but it's keeping it real, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Without that kind of interaction with the crowd in your face, I think you can lose that. And in places around the country as well, where it's not a major city, we will play some smaller town where, you know, people can't necessarily get to the big city. There's people in Hampshire who might not be able to get to Southampton, and we might do another run, like in 18 months' time, where we're hitting up maybe a smaller town somewhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, going to gigs is expensive these days, so you've got to sort of, you know,
we
try and keep something with your fans as well. And sort of, we did that tour a few years ago where we just played, I think it was 150, 200 cap ribbons, just to sort of, you know, say thanks to the people who've been stuck with us.
So
it keeps us on our toes as well.
I'm sorry?
So when you did like the Talking Heads and stuff?
Yes, exactly, yeah. And, you know, we're always going to do stuff like that, and like Mike said, I think it keeps us on a level as well. Like I said, don't trust a band that get there straight away.
Yeah, they don't know what's up.
Yeah.
Like, wow, disillusion.
This is how it should be.
Yeah. No, it takes time to get there, I think, and you've earned it.
I mean, obviously you said you love going back because you get the interaction with the crowd. It's closer than you would be at the Guildhall tonight. You're right up against them. But for a band like Skindred to be playing these venues, it could be like the biggest show of the year, or like guaranteed sellout. Do you feel it's like you're playing an important part of giving something back to these venues that we just constantly hear about struggling and closing down? Do you almost feel sort of...
I'd like to think so, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's cool. I think if there are more bands like us doing that, then the venues will stay open, right?
Yeah,
So,
hopefully.
Yeah, I mean,
I find the more people that kind of sometimes reach out to me online and things like that are saying, I just wanted to let you know I saw you in the so-and-so thingy Dog and Duck in 2004, and it absolutely changed. Like, people walk away from those smaller things thinking, I can't believe what I've just seen, this is the best thing ever. And that happens more, sometimes more so than I saw you at the big show.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it
Bit
really
more of a
resounds.
special moment.
Yeah, I think it touches people.
well, I think you can inspire in a different way. If you've
Yeah.
got like a local band starting out, they're not going to go straight in to play the Guildhall. They're going to start off at the Joiners.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It becomes tangible for a band that way. It's like they can see there's 150 people in that room. If we can bring in 50 people, we've got a gig.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like it's something you can really relate to.
Yeah, definitely.
Individually, who is would you say is your biggest hero, your biggest icon in the music world for each of you?
Does it have to be in the music world?
Preferably, but if you want to straight
The
go
ultimate
for
for
it.
music, right?
No, I was going to say Robocop. Robocop, big hero. But no, that's a tough answer. You start, who's your biggest musical hero?
I think probably over the years it would probably be the drummer from Queen, Roger
Wow.
Taylor.
Yes.
Just consistently from the start. You know, I love them as much as I did when I first heard them. And, you know, so. But I mean, it's hard to pinpoint one, to be honest, because you know, like all types of music, and yeah, difficult one. But if I had to, I'd have to pick him, or Bonham, or Copeland. Yeah.
Probably Jimi Hendrix, to be honest. I mean, obviously he's alive anymore, but that was one person who really was doing something different. And when I discovered Hendrix, it was kind of like unlocking the box, you know. And it was like, oh my god, you know. Obviously, no one's come around since to top that guy. So it's
Like Robocop.
yeah, but he doesn't have a guitar. If he had a guitar that came out of his leg, then maybe.
It's Jimi Hendrix and Robocop.
No, Jimi Hendrix and Robocop, man.
What a band.
I can get those tattooed on somewhere on my legs, one on the other.
What do you feel makes a musical hero? Is it like a certain connection you feel with them, or is it
I think I've always been really inspired by people who do something that's quite original. Who were doing something that was totally different to people at the time, and had loads of other people trying to do that. I think that's, you know, real creativity. I think that's quite inspiring. Never really been into. We're not really inspired by those bands who are kind of part of a big scene or anything. Where, you know, like you've got one band who's like the kings of the scene, and then you've got like 18 bands who are slightly below them. I'm not really, never really been into that sort of thing. It's more like someone who stands out like a sore thumb. They're weird and wonderful.
I feel like you can definitely see that in Skindred.
Yeah, I think we're all a bit like that.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why it sort of works, why we sound like we do. And we've never been kind of followers of the creeds of the
It was difficult when we started out because people didn't, like promoters or managers, they didn't really know where to put us because you stand out, and it's like a double-edged sword. It's your greatest gift, but also it's the thing that holds you back a little bit because you are so weird, you know.
Yeah, we've done tours with Real Big Fish, we played at Guildhall with them, and then we've gone out with bands like Korn. Do you know what I mean? And musically, those two couldn't really be any different, but somehow what we do works for both of them, things like that. Yeah, and there's other weird bands, you know, Gilbert Dello and Foggy Molly, and then
On that side, then you go
Bullet for My
around.
Valentine, but it somehow it plugs into, you know what I mean? It's not like we just sound like one band.
No, your Skindred is complete melding part of everything.
Yeah, you
So
have
do
to make it work for you, really.
Do you feel like you're still often described as reggae metal, and whilst that is that and rap and punk are the two like close?
It sounds so whimsical,
I
doesn't it?
just think we're a rock band.
Yeah,
just
just
like
rock.
lots of different kinds of music, you know, and that's how it is. I think it was easier for the press to call us something like that when we first started, so people could go, "Wow, rag and punk, that sounds awful."
And we're Welsh, we're all Welsh apparently as well.
Yeah, the
So
Welsh
don't forget,
quartet, or now we're a quintet.
None of us, only the singers from Wales.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, when we started out, it was a tag that we were given. So I never really got into any of that stuff.
Yeah,
stuff.
no,
You're a heavy metal or a rock band. It's, you know, everyone's got loud guitars and loud drums.
No one in the band really goes, yeah, we are this. This is what we are. It's more just a pigeonhole, really, that someone had to put on us. But
you didn't really create a scene. It didn't really work, did it? There aren't
No.
really many
there's
reggae
no
metal bands.
You haven't got any copycats. I don't know if that's
I don't know.
a compliment or just an insult. No one wants to know. I would never.
Anyone going to start a reggae metal band soon?
Yeah, I can see it.
Hands up.
Yeah.
Why not?
Another thing I wanted to ask, obviously you've been on a lot of tours, you've played with a lot of bands above and below them. Are there any sort of new emerging bands in the UK that you're really excited about at the minute, sort of a favourite band?
I like a Southampton band called Creeper. I think they're fantastic. Yeah, I think they're really, really good. I've seen them a bunch of times now. I liked a band called Marmosets. I thought they were great. I mean, they're the two that are sticking out for me over the last sort of, 18 months. Creeper are a bit newer. I think Marmosets have had their record out. I think Creeper have got a couple of EPs, so I'm looking forward to their thing. But it's like they know what they want to look like, how they want to sound. They're not learning on the journey. It seems like they've just come out with everything. I think they were all in different bands beforehand, something like that, and they learned their craft. And
would you say that's an important thing to have then, as a sort of band still building themselves?
I think
Do
so.
they need to have that goal of this is what we are?
I think it's too easy these days to get a band together and put a clip on YouTube or put your pictures up. I think you can only be new once.
Yeah.
And I think once you put yourself out there, people, if you're amazing, then great, and you don't want to take that away from you. But it's easy to get, negged on pretty quick. So I'd have your shit together, excuse my language. I'd have your stuff together before you even get to having your photos done. Really hone your craft, know what you want to do, know how you want to act.
I think that kind of identity is really important, because people want to be able to identify with you in order to like your band, I suppose. So if you know what you are, then other people can tangibly see what you are and they can say, yes, that's for me or that's not for me. I think the more sort of, I'm not sure about it, that's when people go, I'm not sure about it either.
Yeah, you've got to be 100% committed to it.
Yeah.
Everything. But yeah, I guess the band like Creeper, like I said, have it all together already, and that's pretty rare, to be fair.
They haven't got a bass player like wears tartan or something. They all look comfortable.
Yeah, I mean
that would be a problem.
That thing.
That would be a big problem.
Nothing wrong with tartan then.
No. You know what I mean?
Sam Taylor has asked, what do you think the future of major and small festivals is in the UK, and how do you think they can be changed? For example, seems to be a problem and lots of complaints of repetitive headliners.
Yeah.
I sort of blame that on the punters a lot, to be honest. If you don't buy the tickets, then they have to change things up. But I mean, people want to see those big bands, so that's why they book them. That's one argument. If you don't book your Black Sabbaths or your Rammsteins, it seems like people aren't going to go to the festival. And Sonosphere hasn't happened for the last couple of years. The other sort of major rock festival, I don't know what's going on there, but it's a weird one, isn't it? You've got to give new headliners a chance to stimulate newer bands. I think a band like Bring Me the Horizon from the rock world, they're going to get there at some point.
I was sure it was going to be there this year.
Yeah.
They'll get there, and
It'll be maybe next year or.
I mean, it seems so competitive, isn't it? That's sort of the business side of things. I mean, Bloodstock is one of those festivals that, on the heavy metal side of things, that is changing it up a little bit. I mean, it's like a 15,000 cap festival, and you usually get maybe a second stage download headliner doing the headlining there.
Well, it's like you said, gigs are expensive and festivals are expensive, and having two huge rock festivals for the rock crowd.
Well, you throw Reading in the mix, you've got another one there.
There you go.
Festivals, I mean,
and it's hard for people to go to everything. I mean, I couldn't go to all three of those festivals. It'd be.
I think the difference is something like Reading and and Download is Reading's got everything there. They have the rock day, but it has everything. The Download is just rock and metal, so I guess having two of those is going to be difficult.
They've got it on lockdown. They've got the monopoly.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the lineup and it had Iron Maiden. Cool, that's like an old school band. Well, it's predictable, but people go and see Iron Maiden and they pay for a ticket to see them. So that sounds like a good idea, I guess.
They'd rather pay for a ticket to see Iron Maiden Download and loads of other bands rather than pay to go see Iron Maiden on tour?
People are going to complain, especially from we all complain.
I find
I'd
that.
love a little moan, you know.
Iron Maiden. Oh.
Yeah, and then I'm the first at the front. Go yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, everyone's going to complain. I think if you want to support local festivals, I went to Heavy Festival. It was a small festival. You know, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
So
those
it's
little
for different types of things, isn't it?
Yeah, those little festivals are great because a band like us can headline, you know, those smaller festivals, no problem really. But I think the one problem is there's so many of these festivals popping up that it's kind of saturating the marketplace, for want of a better word, and then you're finding festivals not being able to continue year after year because they're just not getting the fans there because there's so much competition. You know, we did Takedown Festival down here I think a couple of years. Is that something that's still going on?
That's recently ended, I believe.
Right.
I think last year was his last
It
year.
was a great festival.
Yeah, it was wicked.
Really great, and we love doing those sorts of things. It's a shame to see them.
They're like the one-day sort of festivals, aren't they?
Yeah. Most cities have got one. There was one in Brighton called Breakout, which just did its second year. Yeah, but like you said, Heavy Fest, that struggled when you opened it, didn't it?
Yeah, a couple of years ago they had to pack it in and move it to indoor gigs. I mean, it's like we were saying earlier, it's tough. People. That's why you respect every ticket yourself, because it's hard to sell the ticket.
But there's so many bands and there's so many festivals. It's difficult to expect, I suppose, the ticket buyer to be able to do everything.
Well, I said, all these bands have merch.
Yeah.
They will have albums out. I mean, you're asking a lot from your fans, and so all the people that want to see you. So I guess a festival like Download, you've got everything there. And it doesn't really matter that it's Iron Maiden, Rammstein, or Metallica, or all these bands. There are going to be newer bands, so